Well, hello everybody. How's it going? My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jared Bear. It is officially 3 o'clock Eastern time on the East Coast. Self-explanatory. Thanks so much for stopping by and indulging me for about roughly the next hour or so. Joining me off camera this week is my dad, and Amy's off the couch, off the screen. Well, she's on the couch, but off the screen. Um, So there is a lot to talk about this week, and I hope I'm able to fit all of it, cram it all into one solid hour. There's a lot to go over. This has been a very long week, kind of a difficult week. Um, so I want to make sure I get it out there and as quickly and as expediently and expeditiously as possible. So I found out this past week that my mom has cancer. And tomorrow she's gonna be going to the doctor, I think in Owasso, she said. She's gonna find out not only the severity of the cancer, like what stage it is, but she's gonna find out if needed, they will begin a chemo regimen for her. And then, with that already being in the back of my mind, it's just been well, I don't know, the back of my I try to put it in the back of my mind, but it's always on my mind constant every day. And prior to signing on today or going live today, I went to my mom's Facebook and she's already asking for recommendations for the best cremation services, which adds more heaviness to what's going on. I understand that this is a part of life. This is something that we all have to do. It's a discussion no one wants to have, especially discussing the loss of a loved one, per, particularly in this case, my parents. But the discussions are necessary because it is a part of life. There's nothing that anyone is going to do to stop it or prevent it. It's very uncomfortable for me to even think about my mom and dad not being here anymore, but I know one day it's going to happen, whether I want that to or not, which I never do, by the way. Um, but this is, I think she's doing this as a matter of precautionary measures, like in case it is to the point where she goes through the treatment and she doesn't make it. She wants to make sure that something is set in place, although arguably I would say that she should have taken care of this a long time ago, but I think it's scaring her so much now to the point where if something should happen, this is what she wants done. And it'll be cheaper and the kids won't be left with funeral expenses like dad. He's got his bear because he's going to be cremated too. Um, but this is not a discussion that I am comfortable having, and I know it's got to be had. I know that. I am at an age where I understand my parents are getting up there in age and they're not going to be around forever. It's a part of life. We all have to deal with this eventually, but it makes me very uncomfortable. And while we're going to find out tomorrow, hopefully, some good news, I'm hoping that my mom will get through this. She's my mom. I love her dearly. We may not always agree on a lot of things, but it's not about that right now. It is about the fact that she is sick. She has cancer, and we're going to find out tomorrow what the next steps are going to be. I'm just hoping that um, everything works out fine. And but she broke down crying. I went down to visit her this past week. She was down at my stepdad's, and she broke down and she says, "I'm scared." And of course, naturally, I'm scared too. It's my mom. And she says, "Well, all my family died from this." And I said, "But you're forgetting one very important element." And she says, "What's that?" I said, "You also had a kid who fucking survived it. You had a kid who beat the fuck out of it." And she says, "That's very true." And I hope in some ways, even, no matter how big or small, I'm hoping that for me to say that to her help to give her some confidence, a boost of confidence, and to make her realize that, she's got some fight in her and I want her to use it to the fullest advantage, to the greatest opportunity. I want her to get through this. I want her to beat this thing. But I also have to consider the possibility that she may not. And that scares the living fuck out of me because I do not want to think about that. I don't want to talk about it. It hurts just knowing that my mom has cancer. That to me alone is painful. Dad, he still has an appointment coming up to have his leg looked at because he has a blockage in his leg. It's not a clot or anything, it's just a blockage, but they're gonna discuss what they would like to do, maybe angioplasty if I had to guess. I'm not a medical professional, and I'm not giving unsolicited medical advice, but if it came down to it, I would guess that maybe that's what they plan to do or propose to do. I'm not sure, and I don't wanna say that is the case when it may not be. Um, but my parents are and I'm not I'm it's not an insult, but my parents are getting older and their health is going downhill, and I'm really scared. I'm scared. I like with my dad, yes, I live with my dad, so I know every waking moment what's going on with my dad. And I know your situation. I know his situation because he tells me. If it's anything serious, whether it's serious or not serious, he's going to tell us. But with my mom, she lives on the other side of Mount Pleasant. She's not close. And so I can't just up and drive down the road to see her. This is miles away from me. About a good, I don't know. What one way I would say it's about 50 miles at least. Um so that's one thing that happened this past week and I've been having a hard time dealing with it and um I know a lot of people have been, showing their concern and asking me questions about my mom and her health, and I do appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. But I don't know anything no more than she does, and we're just waiting. We're just waiting, and hopefully tomorrow there will be some good news to come from this, and that my mom will have a fighting chance. Um, because I have been really just feeling down and out about a lot of things, if I can be honest. Um, so that's one of the big things that happened this past week. Yesterday, myself, I was at the hospital. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I have what's called a I'm going to butcher this because it's such a hard fucking word to say. It is a subconjunctival hemorrhage. In other words, meaning that there is a blown blood vessel under the eyelid. And when I lift my eyelid, there's blood. I can see blood on my eye. It looks worse than what it actually is. I posted some pictures on Facebook, not of my eye, but me being at the fucking hospital. And one of my friends from the oncology world, she literally got scared. She says, "Don't ever fucking scare me like that again," because I thought it was something serious. And and I do appreciate the fact that so many people have been concerned about me, and the love has been amazing. Um, that was my mom, by the way. I gotta reply to that. I gotta reply to it. Um, give me a second, guys. I love my mom. I wish she wouldn't be so vague with posts and messages and things. But anyway, back to I was at the hospital yesterday, and so many of my friends were concerned and they were scared, and they shown love, which I appreciate all the time. Um, it looks worse than what it actually is. They sent me home with some eye ointment, which I tried to put in my eye this morning a couple times. I'm not sure if I got it in. I have to take it 4 times for the next 3 or 4 days now. I'm gonna have to set up an appointment with my eye doctor tomorrow well, first of all, to find out if I'm even a patient at, Advanced Eye Care because I haven't been there in a while, but I still have the, insurance, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Um Um, damn it, mom. Um, but that was my little rendezvous with the hospital. I was in Owasso yesterday for probably, I'd say, about an hour, if that, maybe. I don't know. I really wasn't keeping the time. Yeah, we were in and out. There weren't a lot of people in the waiting room. And that's how I wanted it to be. I just wanted to be in and out. I don't want to hang around the hospital anymore or longer than I have to. But they sent me home with some medicated ointment for my eye, and I have to apply like four things of it every day for the next now 4 or 5 days, or maybe 3 or 4 days. But that's what's going on. I don't know if you guys can see it in the live stream. But that was my little issue yesterday. And so there's so much going on. I don't like hospitals, especially Owasso, if I can be honest. There are just a lot of I don't prefer being a patient at the hospital. But that's what happened yesterday. What are you doing, Dad? Oh, and another announcement I found out last week is that Dan Richards is done with WKCQ after 14 years. He is relocating his Sunday Flashback to another station, which can't say which station that's going to be, but he is not going to be at WKCQ anymore. So last week was the final Sunday Flashback at WKCQ after 14 years. I wish Dan all the best. I'm not even sure if Dan watches these live streams, but I certainly wish him all the best wherever he goes, which I kind of know where he's going. I can't say here or anywhere, but I certainly wish him the best in his next move and his future endeavors. And he'll still be going out to Billy's on Mondays. He won't be there tomorrow night because he had surgery on his knee and he's going to be out of commission for a little while, and he's got to rehab the knee, and he's going to come back probably next week. And Mom messaged me, by the way, and she confirmed my suspicions that she's doing this just as a precautionary measure. She wants to I figured that's what it was. But man, it scares the living fuck out of me, Amy. It bothers me. I don't like to think about it.
I know it. Like I said, Jared, I've been thinking about it since I've been in my 40s. And I've talked about it.
I mean, I should probably myself.
My son wants me to be cremated, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna work in
a
cremation.
I'm thinking, that's I should look into something like that. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be 40 in a few years, but
you never know.
I'm not gonna be around forever.
Jared, you yourself.
Yeah.
Be out driving in your van.
I could be on a joyride and something happens, or I could just so much as walk out to my mailbox.
And something happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have that situated.
Yeah.
Then
who's going to pay? Because I don't have kids, so
the state.
Yeah.
Would pay so much, but then what the state don't pay.
Yeah.
If your parents are still alive, they pay.
Yeah.
This way here, you get it all taken care of.
Yeah.
And if you ever had a girlfriend or if you ever have kids.
Yeah. Which.
Then.
That's.
I know.
It's not. I don't think that's going to happen now. But continue.
But that way there, you've got it all taken care of, and your girlfriend and your kids don't have to sit back and worry about it. Or in your situation, your brothers and your sisters.
Yeah.
Will not, or your brothers will not have to worry about it. You'll have it all taken care of.
I don't have sisters, by the way, but
hopefully you live longer.
And it's amazing too, because I can remember being a teenager and writing this in my journal, talking about death and the fear of dying young. And I always had this fear that I wasn't going to live beyond my teenage years because of my prior health issues. I'm going to be 37 this July, and the fear kind of went away, and it also went away largely because I relinquished my religious beliefs.
Now, me, I have had the same issue.
Yeah.
My health is deteriorating.
Yeah.
My mind has been telling me, Mom had the same issues.
Yeah, and it could be
And she
genetic.
died at 66.
Yeah, and
What's
see,
gonna happen to me?
that's what I think
I
too,
need to be
because
prepared
yeah.
just in case.
Well, see, like with my mom, her mom died
My
at
mom wasn't
61.
prepared.
Her mom died at 61 of congestive heart failure. And my mom is going to be 61 this October. And I think, and with mom's health being, I think, I don't want to put words into my mom's mouth because it's not fair for me to do that.
Right.
But I'm guessing that my mom in her mind thinks that, wow, this is the way it is genetically, that we live into our, into our 60s and that's it.
You never know though.
But that's just it.
But it's better to be prepared ahead of time.
My grandma was 61 when she passed away. I was only 3 months old, so I was the very last of the grandchildren to be born, and one of the grandchildren she got to hold before, prior to her death. But I think that's what's going on with my mom, and I don't want to put words into her mouth because it's not fair, but I think subconsciously that's what's going on in her mind. Well, my mom died at 61. My brothers and my sisters have passed away, from cancer and heart attacks and all that stuff. And I think that's what's going. It's just circling around upstairs, like, oh, great, now my time is coming.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what's happening with me.
yeah.
Happens with me.
And mom is messaging. She just messaged me and said, "Well, I just want to make sure everything is set, just in case something happens." Which I don't know. I don't know. I can't say yes. I can't say no. I don't know. But it scares the living fuck out of me.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is too, Jared, is you've been through the cancer system.
Oh, it's not a system. I've been through I live the lifestyle.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant to say. And
It's
now mom's going through it and it's scaring the fuck out of you.
and see
because you've been there.
and see when I talked to mom this past week, I brought this up to her. I said, I said to me it's really strange because even when I was an advocate, now I did things from direct experience. I did things from the heart, from direct experience and personal knowledge. It was not coming from any other source just because I wanted to or just because. No, I did it because I understand it. I understand the lifestyle, and I wanted to reach out to other people to show other people that they weren't alone. Fuck, I still do. But not in the guise of advocacy. I want to do it just as myself. And with that being said, and I know without a doubt there are still people out there who are, they think they're God's gift to children and everything they do is so, profound and perfect and amazing. And those people are just full of shit. They forget that there's still a lot of humanity happening here where you have a situation where people are terminally ill and that cat needs to shut the fuck up because I'm getting sick. I fed him. There's a situation that's bigger than this look at me lifestyle with the gold ribbons and, oh, I'm so perfect. There's humanity happening. There's people who are terminally ill. They have passed away, and there are new cases every year where children are being diagnosed, and it's not just the children, it's adults too. And as a survivor, of course, I recognize what's happening, but I'm always going to operate from a place of this is where my heart is, and this is what I know from my own personal experience. I understand the lifestyle. The lifestyle of someone in the oncology world. And it really bothers me how there are people out there who just feel they're so self-righteous when they get behind a screen and they're on Facebook and they're pretending as though they're God's gift to children and they can do it all and they've done this and they've done that and they think they're so special or so important now that they have their own line of merchandise. And I just think it's incredibly disgusting that people get it in their heads that, well, I'm getting all this attention and popularity. I must mean something. And so much to the point where they have little blue check marks next to their name on Facebook. Do you notice that, Amy? People having the blue check marks.
No, I haven't noticed that.
It's like, do you really think you're this fucking special? You're not a public figure. You're just another motherfucker who got pulled into this organically. You didn't ask to be a part of this, but somehow or another, you think you are so much more important and so much more special than the rest of the world that we put you on a pedestal, on a high horse. It's bullshit. Anybody who really understands doesn't give a fuck about that. I don't need to have a blue check mark next to my story about how I fought childhood cancer, how I beat it. I don't need the validation. Some people are really just fucking sad and sick that it goes beyond their own humanity. That we're going to use Facebook to put up this beautiful, elegant window dressing of such a perfect, wonderful, pristine life. And everything I post and everything I talk about is so profound because I'm the one saying it. This is the selfishness and narcissism of people in that demographic. I've noticed it for years, and it continues, unfortunately. That's why I'm out of it now. But as a survivor, I will come to you and I will say, yes, I understand this. Does your child enjoy receiving mail? I'll write to your kid. It's not a problem. I've done it many, many times before, and I continue to do it, by the way. So that's where I'm at now. A lot of people are kind of shocked at the fact that I had changed so much and given up so much. But now that I'm right back to, okay, now my mom has cancer, and now I got to deal with that. And she did message me to confirm that it is, for precautionary measures, she wants to get the cremation. But it just, I know what you're gonna say. You don't need to say it, but I'm gonna say what I need to say. It scares the fuck out of me. I don't like to have these conversations at all. I wouldn't like it with my own children. I sure as hell don't want to have the conversations with my parents or even my brothers. Although I'm not particularly close to my brothers, but they're still my brothers, and I it's a talk I don't want to have, but I have to. And but that's another thing too. I don't It's like, well, let's all gather and sit down and talk about it. That's what makes the situation more unbearable. I would prefer somebody just tell me.
It was just like when we was up at the funeral home taking care of my business.
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk about it.
It hurt.
Need to be talked about.
I understand that. But it's the idea that let's make it a moment where we sit down and talk about this one instance. That for me is unbearable.
Yeah.
Why can't you just tell me? Just casually tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Why make it a moment? That's what really, it's like most people know I'm an atheist.
Well, you know that I told you. Good.
I know that, but I'm saying most people know that I'm an atheist, okay? It's not like I'm making it a grand moment. Let's sit down and talk about why I'm an atheist. No, I just casually say I don't believe in that stuff. I'm an atheist. I'm not saying that there is no God. I'm saying that there's not enough evidence or any evidence to convince me of the existence of a God. I don't need to sit down and make it a point. But with that situation, it's 10 times more difficult because it's in relevance to discussions about funeral arrangements, and I want to be cremated, I want to be buried, I want to have an open casket, no service. These discussions are painfully difficult. It is a part of life. I've acknowledged that. We're past that now. I've acknowledged that. I have no choice. I have to accept that. But the conversations are incredibly cringeworthy to me, and they are very difficult to have. And it just it bothers me. I'm not ready for this, and I'm not. You're never ready to say goodbye to loved ones. You're never truly ready to have the conversations where, okay, we're going to sit down. This is what we're going to talk about. Just like you were talking about up in Chesaning when we were discussing your cremation. That was difficult. Yes, it had to be said. The conversation had to be done and the plans had to be made. But it was still difficult because I cannot bear the thought of my parents not living. Now, and it's weird. I'll even say this much. I worry more about the mortality of other people than I do my own. I don't fear death. I used to be afraid of it. I'm not. I'll never know it when it happens anyway. I'll have zero awareness of my own death. Um, and when people ask me, "Well, do you know where you're going after you die?" Yeah, I'm going 6 feet under the ground in a pine box. I'm gonna be a smorgasbord for the maggots. That's my favorite phrase, by the way. Um, but, again, I might change my mind and say, "Well, I might wanna be cremated." It'll be, less costly, and it'll be quick, and just have a remembrance of who I was. But death, it just doesn't bother me anymore. It doesn't scare me. Um, because the thing is, after I had relinquished, when I became an atheist, my fear of death had gone out the window almost immediately. Because the thing is, when I die, I'll never know it. I'm never gonna be aware of my own death. And I think back to 1905. Okay, I think back to 1905. I didn't exist in 1905, okay? And Mark Twain had this brilliant quote. Um, I was dead for billions of years prior to my existence, and I wasn't troubled by it one bit. So when I die, what difference is it going to make? And it's true. I was dead for billions of years prior to 1986, and it didn't bother me. I'm not bothered by that. And eventually, I know that one day I'm going to go back out. I'm going to fade back out of existence, and it's going to be okay. I'm not worried about my own mortality so much as I am my dad's and my mom's, and yes, Amy's and Jim's and my brothers and my nieces and nephews. Of course, I think more about everybody around me than myself when it comes to mortality. It doesn't, my own mortality doesn't scare me. It's everybody around me that really scares me. And we are losing people by the droves. Um, I mean, crying out loud.
Like well, we just lost a couple of people.
I
It's just like, wow.
I know there's nothing that can ever be done to stop it. It is a part of life. It's what we all do.
There are some deaths though that we have dealt with that could have been prevented.
Yeah, yes, yeah, and you're right about that. They could have very easily been preventable, and they were preventable, and they could have been prevented.
Yes.
They take their own lives, or it's just something stupid like they wrecked a car or die as a result of injuries to their body, or just something incredibly stupid. And it's like, wow, they had so much more time with us.
Drug overdoses and
Yeah.
why?
Yeah, they had so much more life ahead of them. They had so much potential, and they threw it away. They threw it away. Now, speaking of, because Dad brought up drug overdoses, my ex-girlfriend has a horrific drug problem, and she's in denial. Although she's getting help, she's actively seeking help and treatment, which I'll give her credit for that, and I applaud that all day long. but she has a horrific drug problem. Although things didn't work out between me and my ex, I still wish her the best. I don't want anything horrific or tragic to happen to her because she has a little boy who's on the autism spectrum. He's nonverbal. And hold on, how I think about if something does happen to her, how is he going to survive in the world? That's what I think about. Although we're not together anymore and I never met her son, which I'm kind of glad I didn't, because had it gone on to where I met her son, I would get attached and then things don't work out between me and his mom, then my heart's broken because I had gotten attached. And then the little boy's going to ask, where's Jared? Well, he's not going to ask anything because he can't talk. But that's really what I think about. I hope she gets the help she needs in that regard, and I hope it's beneficial to her and her substance addiction. But I think more about her son, because and CPS has gotten involved so many times, which is another reason why I said I'm wiping my hands clean of this, because I don't need this in my life. I don't need someone who's going to have so many fucking problems to where they're going to drag me down in the long run. I want to live my life problem free. I want to avoid and eliminate as much drama as possible and not deal with people coming into the resident, like where she's at now, CPS coming over, the cops are getting called. She, drives her dad's vehicle and wrecks it because she's fucked up on whatever it was she was taking. I don't need that in my life. Did I have feelings for her? Absolutely. Undoubtedly. I loved her. She loved me. But I don't think we were in love. That's the difference. But I still wish her the best. I don't want to see her life end because she's not much older than me, maybe 5 years older than me. I want her to prosper and thrive in the world, and I want her to be around long enough so she can watch her son grow up and make something of himself. She can pull herself out of a bad situation and bring her child with her into this transformation in her life, where she can be a positive influence on her son to say it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to hit rock bottom, but you can get out of it. And I truly wish the best for her, although things didn't end on the greatest terms. But I still wish the best for her, and I really wish the best for her son. And I know I kind of got sidetracked there in conversation about other things, but back to the main point is that there are so many people out there who had so much life ahead of them, and they had so much potential. They could have really done something. I have friends who are former addicts, including my brother, who's a former addict. He's turning his life around. He's doing better than what he was. I'll just put it that way. He's doing a lot better than where he was previously. But I have friends who are recovered drug addicts, and they open up places where other addicts of substance abuse can come in, talk about their problems, open up to other people who are in similar situations, and they can say, this is where I'm at in my life, and I want to make a positive makeover and a transformation. There's nothing wrong with that. I support groups like that because they're beneficial. And I have so many friends who are recovered drug addicts and family members, like I said, so many people. And there have been a lot of people who just they had so much life ahead of them and the drugs got the better of them, and now they're not with us anymore, unfortunately. But uh, it's a difficult subject. It's a difficult topic. I've never had a substance abuse problem. I might have a beer once in a while. I used to smoke weed when I was in my teens and early 20s. I gave that up, but I still drink a beer every now and then, which is pretty harmless. It's not going to hurt. I don't do it every day.
I'm glad Dad did what him and Dot did way back when, excuse me, they put me in rehab.
Yeah.
because I was badly on alcohol and opiates.
Yeah, and it gets bad.
I've drifted away from the alcohol
Yeah.
and the opiates now,
Right.
Weed,
and I smoke weed.
I don't have anything against weed.
legal.
Yeah, marijuana 420 is legal. I have nothing against it, and if I did, I'd be a hypocrite because I used to smoke pot in my younger days. I used to, and it was great at the time.
As you
But
get older,
people that do not do it does not understand where it is helping the people.
Yeah, there's-
that do it.
There's benefit. There's benefit to weed.
Let's put it this way: they found out that I was doing weed, and they gave me my doctor had gave me Ativan,
Yeah,
which is an opiate.
Yeah.
He took my opiate away and told me to smoke more weed.
yeah, because it's safe. We've never heard any such thing about an overdose on marijuana. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's not a commonality like drunk driving or drug overdose on the harder stuff like the opiates, like you were saying. Marijuana overdose, I don't know. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that I've never heard it does happen.
My son OD'd.
Oh, okay. So I retract that statement.
Yeah, and my
Um,
girlfriend Lisa, she OD'd on marijuana.
But does it kill you though? Does it lead to? Is it
Yeah,
lethal?
It can.
That's I guess that's what I was trying to get at. Is it?
And nowadays you don't know if it is laced.
Yeah, I think that's what happened with me.
Where before
I think that's what happened to me because the last time I smoked, it's quite a few years back. I was down at my stepdad's and we were rolling one, lighting up, and I told him, I said, "Man, I feel really funny. I feel really weird." And then the next thing I know, I'm collapsing.
was your lips tingling.
No, I just wasn't getting oxygen to my brain.
act like you're
I was oxygen deprived and I couldn't catch my breath.
thought you were swallowing the tongue.
Yeah, which is not possible, by the way. You can't swallow your own tongue, but it felt like I couldn't breathe and I couldn't get oxygen to my brain. And then I thought I was going to die because I had never reacted to weed like that ever in my life. So I know someone sprayed it with something or,
They probably put something in it.
yeah,
Where you couldn't
because
tell.
he chopped it up. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a dime. Okay, for those of you who don't know what a dime sack is, it's a $10 bag of weed. They call it a dime
But
sack
you can't buy the
or a
dime.
dime bag. At the time, it was cheap.
Nickel
Um,
dime bags.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't buy
um,
that shit no more.
I got a dime sack from a guy I knew, a real total piece of shit, by the way. Now, but I'm not blaming him for my choice. By the way, I don't want to make it sound like it was his fault that I bought it, but he could have fucking told me prior to me buying this that it
Unless he
had.
didn't know either.
Unless he didn't know either, or he could have. If he did know, he could have told me, and he could have said, "Hey, there's angel dust or whatever," or some stupid.
Coke,
Yeah,
heroin.
yeah. But anyway, I don't smoke it anymore because my body doesn't react to it the way that it used to in my teens and 20s. Like I said, I'm going to be 40 in a few years.
Oh, but Jared likes
And
the contact.
the contact, even, I mean, it doesn't bother me. Like I don't get those old feelings like, fuck, I can't breathe. It doesn't bother me, but sometimes I'll get a headache from the smell,
I can't stand the smell of it.
like I can't do it anymore. And I know lots of people, Amy included, who smoke weed daily. Well, not daily. You don't smoke it daily, I don't think.
Not anymore. I
Um,
mean, just every night after 8 o'clock at night. Is
Yeah.
when I usually do it now.
I know lots of people who smoke daily and they're so used to it.
I
And
used to.
And the excuse that people give, and I'm not saying that there's no benefit to marijuana because, as I pointed out, there is. But I think what's happening with most people is that they are not mature enough to handle life.
You're younger.
So
Yep, you're younger generation.
let's just get high and forget and take leave of our responsibility because we're too much of pussies and we can't take what life throws at us.
Now you get
Well,
start smoking marijuana and you get caught.
Yeah.
You're in jail.
But I think that's really what's happening is because they're too immature to handle a little bit of difficulty in life, so they resort to the weed.
And you know the ones that get popped
And
are
they
the
d-
ones that are stupid and don't obey the law.
And they don't, and these people, most of them don't understand that they could. There's people out there who have it far worse than they do, and they're gonna whine and pout over a fucking hangnail of a problem. Oh well, let's just smoke weed. Weed makes everything better. If you are immature and can't handle things, if you're not strong-willed enough to handle things, then I guess light up, puff away. But there are people who are just not mature enough to handle situations when the going gets tough, and those are the kinds of people that I'm talking about. I don't have anything with pot smoking generally, but it's these people who are just too pussyfied to put their big adult pants on and say, fuck, let's get this thing going. Let's deal with this. Let's tackle this. What now?
I asked for a kid, raise numbers.
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm mid sentence, but those are the people I'm talking about. Like, put your big adult pants on, fucking deal with life, and quit being a bitch. Quit being a bitch. But anyway, you call mom after we're done. Because dad's trying to contact my mom about something about the cremation stuff. And there was actually something that it made national news this past week, and I want to talk about that for a minute. So I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there was a young boy in Southeast Michigan who ordered $1,000 worth of Grubhub because his dad, which I don't buy this for a second, willingly handed his 6-year-old son a phone and said, here, I don't, more or less saying, I want to take leave of parental responsibility for the next 20 minutes. Here, take my phone. And what happened is the kid ordered $1,000 worth of Grubhub, and the dad on camera says, well, I didn't know he would do that. You, sir, are a fucking liar. And the reason I say that is because in 2023, in 2023, there is not a single kid who does not have an electronic device of some stripe, and you're going to go on camera on national fucking television and say, well, gee, I didn't know he was going to do that. You are a fucking liar. You are a liar. You just didn't want to look stupid in front of the world. Well, too late, because your kid ordered $1,000 worth of Grubhub. It's not cute. It's not humorous. I don't think it's funny. It is the result of lazy parenting, and hey, let's let the phone and the tablet babysit my kids.
Well, you know what I don't like?
Because I don't want to be a parent for a little while.
Is when the phone companies come out and tell you, oh, this phone don't work no more.
Yeah.
You give it to your 3-year-old child to play with, and they're calling dispatch.
Well, here's the thing. Well, here's something else too. Why wasn't that credit card flagged for an excessive amount? $1,000 is a lot of money. It seems like the credit card company would have flagged that. There's people, even the news reporters, they think it's funny. They think it's cute. I think it's bullshit. What is this, some kind of a trend? Just to get that 15 minutes of fame because you would rather look good in front of the world instead of take responsibility over your kid to make sure that they're not mindlessly ordering things that you apparently claim that you know nothing about. You're a fucking liar. You do know about it. Well, they're lying. The point is that these people are liars. Well, I didn't know my kid was doing that. You're full of shit. You got your 15 seconds of fame. Congratulations. You're a liar. You knew what your kid was going to do. How do you hand a kid an electronic device in 2023 and say, gee, I didn't know they were going to order $600 worth of Hot Wheels?
How would they know to go into that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And furthermore, there are parental controls. You can put locks and controls on electronic devices where kids can't access certain sites. It is a total and complete lack of parenting. Now, Jared, you don't have kids. You have nothing to say about that. Shut the fuck up. Yes, I do. It is on a public forum. It is a public thing. Now, if this was domestic and it didn't make national headlines, then okay, whatever. It's your bill, your kid, your responsibility. And that's where at base level, that's where my thoughts are. But now that it's on the national platform, it's in the public eye, I can form any fucking opinion I want about anything. Period. And for anyone to make the argument, well, you don't have kids, so you have nothing to say, only shows me that you have already lost the argument, because that is irrelevant to what's actually happening, the topic of the story. And you're not worth debating with. I'm going to say on public record, that was a bullshit thing that happened. And I don't care if people think it's cute or whimsical or silly or innocent. It's not innocent. It wasn't an accident. You willingly handed your kid a fucking phone. Don't tell me you didn't know what was going to happen. Give me a break. This is 2023. There's not a kid alive in this generation who doesn't have an electronic device of some stripe. And you have the temerity to go on national television and say, I didn't know he was going to do that. You're a fucking liar. You're a liar. So there's that. And I wanted to make sure I talked about that too, because
Or did he actually order anything, or did the guy just say he did just to get it on national TV?
yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
They did it deliberately so they could get their 15 minutes of fame.
Mhm.
Well, congratulations. Cool story, bro. You got it.
Yeah, you dumb fuck.
But you're a liar. You are a liar. You knew what was going to happen.
People have their phones, and they do have locks on them where they can't do nothing.
That's what I said. There's parental locks on electronic devices. If that kid, and that kind of brings up another point. If that kid could access Grubhub and order $1,000 worth of Grubhub, I'm more afraid of what else that kid's looking at on the fucking phone
Yeah.
that his parents allegedly didn't know about. You are a liar.
He was probably there showing his kid how to do it.
And I don't want to know what else that 6-year-old kid was looking at on the phone.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it.
Oh.
It's just, it is the result of lazy parenting, a lack of parenting, because, I owe myself a 20-minute break from being the kid's dad or mom. It is the worst time of all times to be having kids. Now that we have access to all this, the electronic devices and social media rots your fucking
That's
brain.
the worst thing they ever come out with.
Yeah.
Worst thing they ever come out with.
And I'll tell you what,
Phones. Kids
I-
kids have phones.
even as an adult, I can say that I have really learned how to structure my time, especially when it comes to social media. I'm not looking at it every second of every day. Like if I'm busy doing something, or yesterday, like I was at the hospital, to kill time, I might scroll through and see what everybody else is up to, or I posted a couple pictures, but I don't spend every waking moment on the internet, on social media. I know how to structure my time.
Whatever happened to kids going out fucking side and playing all the goddamn time? Now it's just
Mhm.
fucking on that phone.
Yeah.
Kids don't know what it is to play.
They don't-
Adults are the same way.
Don't know what it means to get dirty.
Yeah.
I remember playing in the dirt and the sand all the time when I was 6 years old.
Building bicycles and all that
Um,
kind of shit when I was a kid.
My cousins and I, matter of fact, in the wintertime, my cousins and I used to build igloos when we were kids, and those were fun. We used to slide down staircases on pillows and mattresses and blankets. It was fun.
Shit to have fun.
We used to build forts. We used to
Rhonda got a hold of you.
we used to do the shadow puppets on the wall. That was always fun. There was always something fun to do before all of this technology took over. And I hear it all the time from people, well, you're too young to remember life before technology. And I look at them and I tell them, I'm 37 years old, going to be 37. I remember a time before social media. So Facebook didn't take off until 2004. I was only 18 then. And even then I didn't sign up with it.
Even cartoons here that kids would watch when they were younger, you tell them about a cartoon, they'll say, "What's that?"
Yeah.
I mean, they could watch it in the morning, but they'll say, "What's that?" When they get up in the morning, they grab that
Kids-
phone, start
Kids of this generation have no imagination whatsoever. They let the phone do all their thinking for them. They stay entertained by phones and tablet. You know, back when I was growing up, when someone said tablet, I'm not thinking electronic device. I'm thinking an actual pad of fucking paper. That's what a tablet is. Now we have a tablet that is actually an electronic device that people use. I think Amy has one,
Yes.
but it's gone. We've gone to a really strange place, and I noticed my chat room is quiet this week.
Sorry,
That's
I'm
just
not
like
on.
that's just like a regular telephone. They're the ones with the dial.
Yeah, the
You put
rotary
that down in
phones.
front of a kid, and that
Yeah.
kid's gonna say, "What the hell is that?"
But we're talking about generational
Yeah.
things, and what I'm saying is, and you know, case in point, the point I'm trying to make is that this is 2023, where every kid everywhere, there's not a kid alive in this generation who does not have an electronic device of some stripe somewhere. And when parents want to act clueless and try to cover their own asses so they don't look foolish on national television, well, too fucking late, Jack. You already look stupid because you gave your kid the phone willingly. You gave him the phone.
Then they go on the computers
So don't tell me that, oh, I didn't know that he would do
Kids
that.
know more about-
Liar.
Kids know more about a fucking computer than I do. How to turn them on and get on things and everything. I'm like, really? How'd you do that? I'm dumbfounded.
And
when it comes to that shit,
dumbfounded is not the correct word, Dad.
Well, you know
You
what I
say
mean,
the word
though.
dumbfounded.
Well, you know what I mean,
Dumbfounded is when you're excited.
people,
That's not what
people
dumbfounded.
People go on the computer. They'll say, "Well, look up this." Well, how? A kid, you say, "How do you get
Yeah,
up this?" Well, let me show you.
Someone here.
It might be Dave.
Well, you're gonna have to tell him to wait
It might be.
until I'm done. Well, tell him he's gonna have to hold on, or if he comes in, he's got to be quiet. But we are down to the last 8 minutes of the Sunday video update, and I thank you all so much for stopping by. I'm probably going to have my live stream interrupted here shortly. My brother's going to come in. But I try not to sound like a dick when I tell him, well, if you come in, you got to be quiet, unless he has something constructive to add to the conversation. But he's never really here. Generally, it's basically the three of us. We're the main people on this live stream. But I thank you all so much for stopping by. There was a lot to get to this past week, and I was able to cram it all within the hour that I was hoping I would have been able to do that, and I did. It all worked out. I'm going to be okay health-wise. I just have to continue to take the ointment and put it in my eye up here, that the gloop that I tried to do it myself and couldn't. It's not like eye drops. Where eye drops don't bother me. I can put my own eye drops in, but it's ointment. It's a gloop, like a
Drop that in your eye and
like a paste or something. But anyway, okay. But yeah, it's a lot different from eye drops, and that they prescribed me this little dinky tube of it's that's a long word, I can't even pronounce it, but it's ointment, and it's like a pasty kind of substance as opposed to a regular eye drop. And I have to apply that 4 times a day for the next, well, now it'd be about 3 or 4 days, because this would have been the 5th day, so I'm counting backwards. So it'd be probably until Wednesday or so. But tomorrow I'm going to have to set up an appointment with my eye doctor and go from there. I know I still have insurance. And so I'm going to take care of that. But this has been a very long week, and hopefully this week will be better. And the dinging sounds you heard in the background, that was from my mom and some other friends of mine who are messaging me, and I'll check that later on. For those of you who are messaging me, hello, I'm live on YouTube right now. But we're down to the final minutes. We have about 5 minutes left. It was cold this past week. I'm going to get this last thought out. It was really super cold this week. And we had some propane delivered on time, right at the right time. And that bill's not going to be due. Well, we got 30 days to pay the bill. We'll get that paid next month. That's my cat Thunder. If you can't hear him meowing, he's jumping up on the couch over there, black and white cat. But so yeah, we had to get propane. The furnace just kicked on. We had a delivery of propane last week because it got down to like 15 below zero this past week. So yeah, lots going on. And Amy has a dentist appointment this week.
They've done the impressions, and now we're just finishing the rest of the touch-up, procedure.
Right. I'm just checking my messages here quickly. Gender reveal party on Facebook. Yeah, don't give a fuck about gender reveal parties. It's not a big, this is where Amy and I kind of differ on the gender reveal parties. I think they're a waste of time. I think they are a waste of resources or a waste of energy. I saw on Facebook not too long ago where I think it was a cop was expecting a child and they stopped right in the middle of the street while on duty.
No.
I'm incorrect about that?
No. I'm saying that's not right.
No, it's not right at all.
Now, I can see if you go like to like Reed Park, like Colton did.
Yeah.
They did Reed Park. They put a sign up. But they did not reveal if it was a boy or a girl.
And I'm just kind of, as one who doesn't have kids, of course, I'm just kind of sitting back like, whatever happened to a simple phone call? Like, hey, we're having a boy, we're having a girl. Why go all out for it?
Some people want a surprise.
It's like we're gonna throw a great big party. We're gonna surprise the father as to the genitals of my unborn child, which is kind of weird. But
honestly, the mother and the father already know, but they don't go and tell everybody. They only go tell maybe grandma and mom.
And that's what I was trying to explain.
Grandma.
That's what I was trying to point out. Like, no one's walking on pins and needles wondering what the sex of the unborn child's going to be.
No, the parents already know.
Right. And it's like, why, my thoughts are, why go all out for that? I mean, you're just going to find out the sex of the child. I don't know. That's just my personal take. As one who, of course, doesn't have kids, it kind of gives me some objectivity. I can look at it from a different angle and form an opinion about that. But because I don't have kids, I'm not allowed to form opinion. Fuck off on that. I certainly can form an opinion. I don't own an iguana either, but I don't light firecrackers in its nostrils either. I know that much. It's all about common sense, which most people lack in 2023. But I just never, I guess I really just never understood it. Maybe perhaps I never will. But anyway, I think we are at the top of the hour. Yeah, we're 2 minutes away from I'll just leave my glasses on. No one came into the chat log this week, which is actually, well, no, I'm not talking about you, but the trolls who like to come in here and start shit, they know I'm gonna nuke the fuck out of them if they come in here acting stupid, but I would like to still have conversation with individuals in chat if they're gonna be legitimate and if they're gonna have legitimate conversation. If they're going to come in being stupid, I'll deal with them. But I'm really just amazed at I have almost 360 subscribers, and I think I have more surveillance cameras, so to speak, people who are just watching but they won't comment because they are most likely trolls or they are reporting back to their shepherds, so to speak, shepherds, on what Jer Bear's got to say. And well, Jared is doing this and Jared is doing that. Well, great. That's why I'm only going to disclose certain details and information about my life. Not where I'm going, not what I'm doing, or not who I'm meeting up with. That's not happening. But in terms of health, yeah, there's that going on. It is officially 4 o'clock. Amy, we're out of here. I don't know if you had any final words. Dad would say, have a good week and take care of each other. He's talking to my brother in the kitchen. Fire away.
Be safe, stay out of trouble,
Right,
take care.
right.
Don't stress so much.
Yeah.
I can't say that
It's
because I do that so much now.
It's easier said than
I can't
done.
sleep.
Hopefully this week we'll have some good news. Mom, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. My eye is going to be fine. I don't know if you guys can see how bloodshot my eye is, but it's a
I was just gonna tell you, don't stick your finger in
no,
it.
I'm not sticking my finger in my eye. I'm just kind of inching it up closer to the camera.
Right.
Um,
What drops in there for you.
Yeah. But
Or
anyway,
whatever you need to.
I'm out, guys. Much love to all of you. I will talk to you next week, maybe if I'm feeling up to it. Either way, we're going to find out what's going on with my mom and her health issues, and I'll keep everyone abreast of that, and including my own health issues and dad's health issues. I'm always keeping everybody afloat on what's going on. So, anyway, we're out, guys. We'll see you next week. Take care.